So, welcome to Fireside Chats. Nice to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. My name is Jason Meany. I am the Marketing Director and Education Coordinator for International Training, and I'm here with...
Stephanie Miele. I am the Acting Chief Operating Officer for International Training and all of her brands.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Lots of things have happened with TDI. There's been a whole lot of history with TDI and everything. It started in 1994. It started, and you were kind of there around basically the beginnings of the whole thing, right? Like not right at the beginning, but pretty darn close.
Yeah, 1998. So
yeah.
It's been a bit.
Yeah. So how did you get involved?
So I got involved when I was in college in a roundabout way. I happened to be dating the diving safety officer at the University of Rhode Island, and he was recruited to work at Uvatech up in Maine. And I was visiting him on weekends, and Brett Gillum needed somebody to work at the TDI offices. And I was ready to graduate and go to law school, but decided I wasn't really ready yet. So he offered me a position to work at TDI and take a bit of a gap year and then go back to law school, but obviously that never happened. So I started at TDI in 1998.
Nice. And you've been here ever since?
Ever since.
So, TDI started around all of the BS that was happening within the industry and within technical diving, and just the macho bullshit was happening. Is that a correct statement to say?
That is a correct statement, yes.
Okay. So, how did you navigate that? Or what challenges did you have navigating that? Because anyone would have challenges navigating that. But what challenges did you see in that area with you interacting and working?
Probably the challenge of not being taken seriously and doubting what I was saying or the message I was trying to get across. And that was probably the most annoying out of everything. People are entitled to their opinions, whether or not they're right or wrong, that's another thing. But being doubted and challenged based on my intellect was probably the hard part.
Yeah. And that's not something that has changed significantly in technical diving. Maybe it's gotten a little bit better, would you say? Or
I think it's gotten a bit better.
Okay.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm not really diving technically anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. That's just not my space at the moment.
Right.
So I haven't been in that world on the boats and experiencing that, but I still see it at headquarters occasionally.
Yeah.
Where something will come across in training and membership services that's inappropriate.
Yeah. And that it happens in all sorts of different areas, in all sorts of different ways, in all sorts of different reasons.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I owned a dive center, and literally they'd be like, I can't talk to you. I need to talk to the owner. Why? I need to pick a snorkel. It's like, okay, great. Like, anyone can help you with that. You don't need to talk to the owner.
Yes.
So, and I'm sure you see that to some degree in that aspect.
I have.
Yeah. How has TDI changed?
TDI has grown. It's an adult now, if you will. When I started, it was an awkward toddler, and now it's grown. It's quite established. Brett did a great job of establishing it right off the bat. So it's grown. It's matured. We've added additional courses. We have representation all over the world. We have fantastic professionals all over the world, and it's really aged like a fine wine.
Nice.
Aged nicely.
Well done. I like it. So, going back a little bit, you had made a comment about how you were not necessarily in the technical diving now as much as you were previously.
No.
I think sometimes people miss, not that it's the end-all, be-all, but people miss some of the people who are in the industry's history of diving, like what they've done and how they've gotten where they are. So what's your general history of diving? What was your passion for diving? What technical diving did you do? Because I think that people miss out on that sometimes.
My passion with diving actually centered around teaching kids. So that they've always been my sweet spot. It's fun to see it through their lens, and then when you have a kid of your own, it's just even better to see it that way. But again, totally dating myself. There was no Facebook back then, so anything I did do is on some kind of microfilm, if you will.
Yep.
But I had the ability to do the nitrox courses, the advanced nitrox courses, the deco courses, and teach all of them. And I dabbled a bit in extended range. I did quite a bit of extended range dives, and I was actually diving the Draeger Dolphin and the Draeger Ray
Wow.
way back when. So that was when rebreathers were quite taboo, and I was able to play around with them off the coast of Rhode Island. And I've done a couple of trimix dives, but not to the point where I would ever call myself confident in that arena. The gas back then was just too expensive, and I was poor as poor could be and couldn't afford it. That's why we went the extended range route. So it's changed now, and I was able to teach all of those, not the trimix, until we really bought the company, and that put me in a different space. I didn't have a lot of time to teach. I had to make what I bought grow, and that presents a whole nother set of time suck.
It does, yes. What time frame did you buy the company?
2004.
2004. So, when you say you're diving nitrox and you say you're diving deco procedures and mixed gases, this is still when mixed gases were...
Voodoo.
Yeah, voodoo, and there were multiple agencies saying,
no,
don't dive that stuff. I mean, I've got documentations from one of the courses that I took that literally was like some of the major training agencies telling everybody, like literally articles in magazines saying you're going to kill everybody if you do this stuff. Why would you do all this? What was that like?
That was interesting, and again, the internet wasn't really a big thing back in the late 90s, because this was all happening in the late 90s and early 2000s. It was just, people are always going to talk, and listening to, I got sucked into listening to that, and it made me doubt myself. It made me doubt what we were doing. It gave me pause, rather, and I trusted the science. I trusted the people that were studying this, that understood this, and had to make a choice for myself. I can either believe the bullshit or follow on my own path. And as a young 20-year-old, that was a bit challenging, but I'm glad I stayed on that path. I had some great people guiding me, and it kind of got me to where I am, where you kind of sometimes need to block out the noise.
Yep. And it's very interesting, the fact that the industry was so adamant at that point in time of all the bad things that it was, and then some bad things that it was, and then some people were saying, no, listen to the scientists, like you said, like, listen to the science, look at this. And it just keeps coming around and around. That's that similar kind of vein. We hear that periodically, right?
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
So, and it's barely been 20 years.
Yeah.
That nitrox has gone from it's going to kill everybody to like the most sought after, like pushed.
Yes.
You know, agencies have gone from it's going to kill you, but not we haven't, but like went from it's going to kill you to please take our course.
It's almost a compliment now to the open water.
Yeah.
It's the most commonly paired, I think, if you go through and take a snippet of the certifications through the agency, open water and nitrox, I think are seen more commonly than anything else. It was kind of like the advanced nitrox and the deco, that sweet spot where you would teach those two together because it just made sense.
Yep.
But you're looking at a vastly different number of technical divers versus open water and nitrox. It's comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah, definitely.